Tubers, two bets, various crazy people. The title of this little video is going to be something to the effect of fail big or learn to fail or something like that. I haven't figured it out yet. But what motivated me to make this was some reflective moments that I've had and some current events that I've observed with some other people, some people close to me. And so I won't get into the details of what happened with them or about them. Maybe at a later date, I will, because I think they would like their story to be told, but I want to verify that with them before I do. Anyway, but as far as I'm concerned, I was giving this whole failure thing a hard look. And when I lived in America, I found that I was afraid to fail, and because that could have devastating consequences. I like to say that I raised and paid for 2 wives and 3 kids. And so as a guy, me personally, I'm not speaking for anybody else, I felt that it was my duty, my obligation to make sure that my family had what they needed at all times. And I was willing to work a job that I didn't really care for, but had a better than average income, so that I could provide the nice house and the food and the school clothes and all the other stuff. I won't kill you with examples, you get it. And in the process of that, I found that once I got into my niche, that if I took any kind of risk, or if I took that could lead to failure. In other words, if I rocked the boat. So for many, many years, I've realized now, I didn't realize it at the time, I was really just sort of treading water. I was just sort of staying in one place. I had found my little comfort zone. And I felt such a responsibility towards my family and towards those that were around me, that to try to make a change, to try to take a risk, to possibly fail could mean collapse and therefore affect these other people. And I wasn't sure if I could live with myself if that happened, even though I wanted to. Well, eventually, after having raised 2 wives and 3 kids, the wives were gone and the kids grew up, and now it was just little old me. And I had a decision to make. Did I want to continue to tread water? And I thought it through. If I did, I could have stayed where I was at. I could have kept doing what I was doing, and a number of years would pass by with basically one day being pretty much like the other. And then again, over whatever period of time it is, I'm going to die. And we all end up at the same place, no matter how rich or how poor, successful or famous that we were or are, we're all going to end up equal at the end of the day. I heard a great saying the other day that there's never a U-Haul behind a hearse. A great spin on you can't take it with you. And in fact, failure used to affect me deeply. Whenever I made a mistake, or that maybe inhibited my income or created an outcome that could have been better in my personal life or family life, man, I used to lay in bed and just beat myself up over it. I'd lose sleep. I would replay the movie in my head and say, you know, God, Paul, if you'd just done this or said that or reacted differently, you wouldn't have this and that and the other. And that did no good. All it did was make me tired the next day. It didn't solve the problem. It was just worry and guilt and all this angst that just doesn't serve any purpose. And then on top of that, even if I didn't do anything wrong, there were still people in my life, even after the kids were grown, the wives were gone, there were still family members, there were still workmates, there were still other peripheral people in my life that would inject drama into my life. And they would kind of like, dump their dirty laundry into my basket and expect me to wash it up and clean it for them and solve it. And like a dummy, I used to do it. I used to buy into it and try to fix it for them, to no benefit to me. And so when I took the plunge about 4 years ago to come over here, it was very liberating to be able to successfully leave at the airport that I departed from the majority of all that. I was no longer going to have these people, my inner circle, if you will, inject stuff on me. I was no longer going to be treading water. I was going to take a risk, and I was more than willing to fail. I read recently that Thomas Edison tried 1,000 different filaments and failed. And at 1001, he had a light bulb that worked. So, to fail doesn't make you a failure, which was my old perception. Now I realize that to fail is to be human. And the real failure is not to try again. Take a risk. Keep moving forward. Never backwards. And today, when I fail, and I do it all the time, I go to sleep at night and sleep like a baby, because that failure, I realize now, is one failure closer to being successful. I did it wrong. I didn't manage it correctly. I went left when I should have gone right. I said this when I should have said that. I just won't do that again, is what I've taken away from that. It's okay to fail. It's okay to be human. There are people that are in my life here now that I have found have tried to inject their drama on me. And before, when they dropped their drama in my laundry basket, I would try to wash it up and clean it for them. And basically, like I said, get nothing in return, but, another visit later with more laundry. But now I just shut them down, pure and simple. It's, again, a very liberating feeling. I have met a lot of people since I have lived here, and I have found, and I have always been somewhat gullible and continue to be so. My girlfriend, May, is much more intuitive. She can read people right away, and she knows when they're fake, and she pretty much knows when they're full of it. And me, I'm like, they're okay until they prove themselves wrong. And so that's probably another video too. That would be an interesting one to do. But I try to be friends with people, and sometimes we are, and sometimes I've been friends with people over here for years, and then it's taken that long for me to see their true colors. And when that happens, it's very simple. I just stop. I just cut it out. I move forward, and I just move forward without them. And I don't do it in a conflictual way. I don't confront them. I don't get up in their face or anything. It's just like, okay, I know where you're coming from. I know your true identity now. I know what your agenda is, and I don't want any part of it. So I still say hi. I'm still friendly to them, but that's the beginning and the end of it. I just no longer invest any more time or energy or talent or treasure into them and expect none back. So that is taking a failure, which is a misjudgment of person, and turning it into a success. I took a risk of meeting them. I took the risk of befriending them. And now that didn't work. Okay, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I think it's important that for the people coming over here, that I don't know what, I don't want to give advice. So all I can tell you is this. I won't go there. I'll change directions. When I came over here, I did not know a single soul, not one. I had never been to the Philippines before. I'd been on other places, but it's a whole different dynamic when you're going someplace for a month on vacation and then going back home to your routine than it is to drop home and come over to start all over again. To not necessarily escape your life, but to create a new one. And sometimes it takes a drastic risk, a drastic leap of faith in order for me to create that. I'm happy to say that since I've moved over here, I feel better. I don't take any more medications. I have made some awesome friends, much better than in the States. Without it being one of my priorities, I entered into a relationship with someone, Baby May, for over 2 years now. And while we have our moments, I gotta tell you, it's probably the best relationship that I've ever had in my life. And again, that wasn't something that was on my list when I came over here. I really just wanted to retire and stop showing up and going through Groundhog Day, where, you know, today was the same as yesterday and tomorrow's going to be the same as today. That's over with. So I guess the moral of this little story for myself is that I am glad that I have stopped treading water. I am glad that I am now trying to swim and catch the wave and body surf it into shore, knowing that I might hit some rocks before I get to the sand. And it's okay to fail, because failure leads to success. Failure means that you tried. Failure means that you move forward. You put one foot in front of the other. And that is something that I intend to absolutely, positively continue to do as long as I'm willing to sit up and take nourishment. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to my little rant. I will see you in the next video. Bye.